I'll never look at a shiny Eevee in the same way again. Ever. It started only a few days ago. I was on the internet looking for action replay codes. I really wanted one for either a shiny Vulpix or a shiny Eevee. Then, I found one for that shiny Eevee that I wanted so much. The code was long, but I was willing to take the time to put it in. It took about 15 minutes to put the code in, but I was excited to get the code into action. I started my Soul Silver game up with the code on. I clicked continue, and my previous save data came up. I was saved right in front of the Pokemon Center. I rushed into the place with my Typhlosion following behind me. I went to the PC and pressed A. Klaus booted up the PC. I clicked A on Bill's PC. Pokemon storage system activated. I pressed the L and R buttons down and moved to box 5, where a shiny Eevee was supposed to come up. I moved the cursor over the Eevee, and it was named EE, and it was a level 1. Its moves were Tackle, Growl, Sand Attack, and Swift. I took out my level 1 Giratina from my party, and put it into the first box of the PC. Afterwards, I put EE in my party. I wanted to trade it into my Heart Gold version, since it was the one that I always play. I got my other DS and popped Heart Gold into it. I turned it on and clicked continue. Once both my players were in the Union Room, I started the trade. I traded a Cubone onto my Soul Silver in return for EE. Once the Pokemon were traded onto the separate versions, I made both players leave the Union Room and saved one at a time. Once turning off the system, Soul Silver was in. I went to play Heart Gold. I wanted to clone EE so I could get the rest of the evolutions. I wonder if I have a Thunderstone, I wondered to myself as I opened my character's bag. The only evolution stone I had was a Water Stone. Vaporeon will do for now, I guess. I clicked A on the Water Stone and clicked on EE. I watched as the Eevee evolved into a pink Vaporeon. Once the evolution process was done, I saved the game and turned it off, as it was time for me to go to bed. Several days had passed, and I'd gotten all of the shiny evolutions except for Flareon, but that didn't really matter to me. I'd get it later. I wanted to get EE back onto my Soul Silver. I got my DS and popped in my Action Replay DSi along with Soul Silver. Once the code list loaded, I clicked on the shiny Eevee code and started up the game. I clicked continue as soon as the options came up. I was saved inside the Pokemon Center this time. I ran over to the PC. Klaus booted up the PC. I clicked A on Bill's PC. Pokemon storage system activated. I was already in box 5, so I moved to box 6 and held down the R and L buttons. I moved back to box 5, but instead of an Eevee icon in the box, there was an egg icon. I moved my cursor onto it. It was a bad egg. I moved the egg to the side of the box and tried again. Another bad egg. I moved the egg to the bottom and tried for a third time. This time, EE appeared in the box. I moved EE back to my party, as I wanted to train him. I completely disregarded the fact that I had 2 bad eggs in my PC box now, and logged off the PC. I ran out of the Pokemon Center to train EE. I had the max XP code on, so this would be pretty easy. After flying to Goldenrod City on my Ho-Oh, I ran out of the city knowing that I'd sneak past some of the trainers. Once a trainer had spotted me, I sent out EE. The opposing trainer sent out a level 10 Diglett. I returned EE and sent out my trusty Typhlosion. After the foe's Diglett attacked, I selected Typhlosion's command. This wouldn't be hard at all for him, seeing as he was level 100. I selected Slash. Typhlosion used Slash. Foe Diglett fainted. I held down the R button so EE would gain max experience points. EE grew to level 2. EE grew to level 3. This went on until EE grew to level 37. Trainer is about to send Zubat. Will Klaus change Pokemon? I selected yes and sent out EE. Go, EE! Trainer sent out Zubat. I selected the fight command, then chose Swift. EE used Swift. Foe Zubat died. The Zubat died? I questioned. I shook my head and ignored it, although through my confusion, I had forgotten to hold down the R button to get max XP for Eevee. Trainer is about to send out Diglett. Will Klaus switch Pokemon? I selected no this time. Trainer sent out Diglett. What will EE do? I selected the fight option, then chose Swift again. EE used Swift. Foe's Diglett died. Again, the Pokemon had died. Even though this still confused me, I remembered to hold down the R button this time. EE grew to level 38. EE grew to level 39. EE grew to level 40. This again continued until EE reached level 52. The opposing trainer didn't do anything after I beat him. Before the screen went back to the overworld, I got the evolution screen, and EE was on there. What? EE is evolving. The animation started, showing it was trying to evolve into an Espeon. I clicked the B button, since I already had a shiny Espeon. What? EE stopped evolving. I noticed that EE seemed to be angry. I decided to ignore this and carry on training. After about 5 minutes or so, EE was ready to evolve again. I pressed the B button again, and EE seemed even angrier at me. I was once again in the overworld, but before I could do anything, my trainer faced EE and an angry icon appeared above its head. EE wants to evolve into an Espeon. Yes or no options came up. Being that I didn't want it to evolve into an Espeon, I clicked no. The angry icon appeared over EE's head again, and the small sprite jumped up and down as if it were throwing a tantrum. EE wants to evolve. Another yes or no option came up. I clicked no again. EE didn't do anything this time. I opened up my party and noticed that all my Pokemon were now bad eggs, except for EE. I then clicked on EE and then summary. EE's sprite had an evil looking smirk on its face, along with red eyes. I was starting to get tired of it. I went to a Pokemon Center and went to the PC. Klaus booted up the PC. I clicked A on Bill's PC. Pokemon storage system activated. I selected EE and clicked on release. EE won't leave without a fight. Suddenly, I'm dragged into a random encounter. EE wants to fight. Go, Typhlosion! There were two things that I noticed here. The first was that I suddenly had my Typhlosion back. The second was that both EE and Typhlosion sprites were bloody. EE still had that grin on its face, and there was blood on its eyes and ears. Typhlosion's sprite looked very much like it was in pain. Blood was dripping from its mouth and nose. Flesh was exposed on its forehead, and the flame on its neck looked weak. What will Typhlosion do? I clicked the fight command and then chose Flamethrower. Typhlosion is scared. What? I whispered to myself. I didn't know Pokemon would get scared to attack. EE used Bite. The attack dealt much damage to my Typhlosion, but it wasn't down yet. There was more blood on it now than before though. What will Typhlosion do? Fight. Flamethrower. Typhlosion is scared. I sighed. Again? EE used Kill. Typhlosion has died. No! I yelled. I'm just glad my dad wasn't home when I yelled like that. Klaus is out of usable Pokemon. Klaus fell victim to EE. I was once again confused. What did it mean, fell victim? I was back in the overworld, but I was in what seemed to be Ilex Forest instead of the Pokemon Center. The forest was a dark red instead of its normal green color. Bones and rotting flesh were strewn across the area. The little pond was blood red too. At this point, I was starting to feel sick to my stomach. Then I noticed something. EE was right in front of my trainer. EE sprite jumped up and down. EE wants you to suffer. I was getting too scared to go on with this. I moved my thumb towards the power button. Don't even try it. You're not getting away from me. A voice came through the speakers of my DS. I assumed the voice belonged to EE. The screen turned to black, and the only sound I could hear was what sounded like slashing. When the overworld came back, I saw my trainer laying on the ground in a pool of blood. He had an arm and a leg missing, and his eyes were pitch black. I had assumed that his eyes were ripped out. Ee's sprite jumped up and down again, then a happy icon appeared over Ee's head. I tried turning off the game again, and to my surprise, it finally worked. I sat on my couch speechless, and breathing hard for a moment before turning it back on. I clicked back on Soul Silver once I was on the DSi menu. After the title screen came up, I was immediately taken to a wild encounter. My trainer's sprite was missing his eyes and an arm. I swallowed hard. This greatly disturbed me. Then the opposing Pokemon had appeared. E attacked. I noticed that E had shiny Espeon ears, tail, and a jaw. Blood was dripping from all of them, and it also had blood coming from its eyes. Its cry was like a demonic version of Espeon's cry. The only option was Ball. I click on it. Klaus used one Pokeball. E goes into the ball. It shakes once, and again. Then E breaks out. E doesn't want to go back. E used Kill. Oh no, I said quietly to myself. There was a flash of crimson red before a text box came up. E has killed Klaus. The screen went back to the overworld. My trainer sprite wasn't there. E's sprite was now grinning widely. You should have let me evolve. E's voice echoed through the speakers of my DSi. The game turned itself off as E finished talking. I was too terrified to turn it back on. I threw my DS at the wall and, surprisingly, only my Soul Silver game pops out of it. I picked up the game cartridge and threw it in the trash can in the corner of my room. I sat there on my couch wondering what just happened. I turned on my TV and the screen was black. I figured I just left it on the channel I used to play on my Wii. I turned through the channels before leaving it on 29. The screen remained black. I sighed and reached to press the power button, but before I could, an eerie voice comes through the speakers. You should have let me evolve. Thank you for sticking around to the end. If you enjoyed today's story, don't forget to leave a like. And if you want to hear more stories like it, don't forget to subscribe and click that bell icon. That way you'll never miss a story. Oh, and if you haven't already, don't forget to follow me on Twitter so you can keep up with the latest goings on the channel.